2, 1. What up, team? Welcome to Cap'n Kirk's Movie Queue. Today we're going to go over the hit classic, Rush Hour. Released on September 18th, 1998, starring Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, directed by Brett Ratner, who got his start doing music videos in the early 90s for stars such as Mariah Carey and D'Angelo. He's also directed films like Money Talks, Red Dragon, Tower Heist, and a single segment in the movie 43. Which, if you've seen the movie 43, I'm sorry. If you haven't, save yourself. This was his second full-length feature, the first being Money Talks the year prior in 1997. And I think he really did a good job. The movie doesn't have that typical rookie feel that you kind of get to it with sloppy transitions and kind of misguided, kind of seems all over the place. This one didn't. It had what seemed to be some pretty clear guidance. And I mean, with a guy that's worked with stars and big names and he has a history of that and a $33 million budget, I would hope you could put something decent together. When I originally sat down to do this movie, it kind of started off as somewhat of a joke between my wife and I, but I gotta tell you, I forgot how good this movie actually is. It actually had a decent plot, some good laughs, some good action. Chemistry between Jackie and Chris seemed to work pretty well, at least well enough to get not only one, but 2 sequels. So if those are something you would like for me to watch, let me know down below. Honestly, I'm probably going to watch them anyways, but it would be nice to know that you'd like to see it. At its core, this movie is really just a buddy cop crime comedy. But with the movie being made in 98, I was expecting many of the jokes to either go over my head or be kind of, questionable for this day and age. But to my surprise, most of the comedy was pretty well done and pretty tame. Also, watching this movie was kind of like jumping in a time machine because I'm kind of a car guy. So going back and seeing like a 98 Tahoe, pristine, rolled out, black wheels, and just all of the different cars except for the gold Ford Taurus, it was a lot of fun. It was kind of interesting to see because at this point, I mean, I was 6 years old when this movie came out. And now seeing all these cars that were brand new at the time that are now 25 to 30 years old, it's kind of interesting. But I digress. So now we jump into the opening of the movie with some character background. We see Jackie doing Jackie Chan things. We see bad guys doing bad guy things. And a secret society meeting doing secret society things. So this is probably just me, but I've always wondered, how do these secret societies come about? Like, how do these people get their role in this? Like, that's got to be something you're born into, right?
The details of my life are quite inconsequential.
Or do you just show up and apply through HR like it's a normal company? I just picture the job interview for this being a giant battle royale, and it's like at the end, congratulations, you're the treasurer now. Anyways, we transition to Chris Tucker at a gun buy meetup, and oh my gosh, he is being so loud. There's just no way that someone shady would allow this to happen just in the middle of a diner parking lot. And of course it goes awry. These 2 little cops show up and mess up the whole thing where it looks like Chris is working undercover. So then the guy runs and he literally starts chasing and shooting at the guy with a trunk full of C4 in the middle of downtown. Luckily, the guy calls this out moments before his car explodes, and I just gotta say, there is no way that this guy survived this explosion. With a trunk full of C4, all of the carnage that comes out of this, and he just walks away like nothing happened. He pops up a little later in the movie, and we'll talk more about that when we get there, but it was like maybe 2 days had passed in this time, and there's no way the dude is as well off as he is. I mean, he's got a couple of scratches maybe on his face, but other than that, dude's walking around like there's nothing wrong. We jump to a scene now where this group of bad guys kills the guards and kidnaps this little girl. Her dad, who's in the U.S. doing business, wants to bring in one of his Chinese detectives that he's worked with forever, Jackie Chan's character. But the FBI wants nothing to do with this. They kind of just want him out of the way and to be distracted. So they call up the LAPD, try to find somebody as a joke. And all through this, Chris Tucker's getting in trouble with his boss at the LAPD. So he decides he's going to send Chris down there and kind of trick him, play a joke on him, and tell him he's got this top secret mission that the FBI needs his and only his help with. So he gets down there, starts talking to some guys. They mess with him a little bit, but he quickly realizes that this is all just kind of a joke and that they're basically sending him on a babysitting mission. Little do they know, both Jackie and Chris are both taking this thing super seriously. Jackie's character has basically watched this little girl grow up and been a protector over her his whole life. So of course he's going to go do this. And they're not going to be pushed aside. So Chris is going around to all his normal informants. He's kind of doing the, oh, keep Jackie out of the way thing. But he's going around to all his normal informants. We see him talking to a couple of shady characters and doing some business and stuff like that. Which honestly, as a detective, he's doing a pretty good job. He's getting info and he's going around. Like, I imagine this is probably how most like low-key detectives do things. Like, you got to have ears everywhere. So I could see it happening. The movie then cuts back to the meeting room where they have all of the FBI, the Chinese businessmen, and a bunch of people set up, all the technology, stuff like that. And Chris and Jackie go back there. They end up getting a phone call. That was weird. They then get a phone call to where we learn that the bad guys are asking for a $50 million ransom in small unmarked bills. Another side note, while I was doing research for this, I came across like a little thing that basically said the amount of money and in the ways that they were asking for would be something like 2.5 million individual bills and weigh a little over 5,000 pounds. And I just think that's so interesting because they show up with 2 briefcases and that's it. When you would need like 2 trucks to carry that much money. But I digress. On this call, they end up tracking the call and they figure out where the bad guys are held up at. So they go there, but it turns out it's a setup. And as soon as the crew enters into the building, boom, they blow it up. We then get a small foot chase where Jackie's chasing the main bad guy down. And they're running through these alleys and jumping through all kinds of stuff. Chris shows up. And in this scene, I couldn't help but think of Good Burger when Kel is trying to teach Keenan how to climb up the Mondo Burger.
Oh, it's easy. You just jump on a burger, jump on the fry, and then you hop on the cup, and then shimmy up the straw. What is this, American Gladiator?
Oh. Anyways, so they end up being found again after the FBI. They didn't end up catching the guy. The FBI crew members end up finding them again, and they're told again to stay out of it. Spoiler alert, they don't. It's at this point the blown up guy comes back into play. They go to the jail where he's being held and try to find him and talk to him. Chris works a deal with the security guard there and ends up bringing him out. I've never been to prison. I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like this. Like, there's no way that security guard just has access to pull out a prisoner at any point in what looks to be the middle of the night and just stick him in a room with 2 guys and just leave it be like nothing's gonna happen. They end up getting the information they're looking for because Chris is loud and Jackie's humble, and it ends up working for him. So after this, for some reason, Chris and Jackie just start to hit it off. They become friends, they're working together, they're practicing regularly, and genuinely, it seems, getting along. They find out where the second drop is going to be happening and they decide to join in. As you can guess, it goes awful. This scene really shows us why you need a partner. Gotta have somebody that gets your back. It also gives us one of the most iconic quotes from 1990s cinema.
We're not that young. Which one of y'all kicked me?
I don't know why I noticed this, but why is Chris Tucker doing this run?
Behind you.
Like, what is he doing? I don't know. When I saw that, it just genuinely gave me a chuckle. I don't know why it's in there. I don't know why he ran like that, but it's great and I love it. So they blow the second drop. They blow it. They mess it up. They don't make the drop. They don't make the money. They don't make the exchange. Nothing ends up. So now the bad guys are really mad. They give him one last chance to bring the money with no funny business. And this meeting just so happens to be at an art gala for some reason on like literally opening night when there are tons of people around. And they strap a literal bomb to this girl's chest. But man, she's tough and doesn't even flinch at it.
Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push a button.
After some back and forth, a little bit of fighting, stuff like that, Chris brings the little girl with the bomb in. We find out that this FBI guy or business partner, I'm not really sure if they ever really said who this guy is. Well, they probably did and I just missed it. Get over it. At this point, we find out that like the FBI guy or business partner, not really sure which one he is. Not gonna go back and look. Sorry. He's actually the one that's running the whole thing and the brains of the operation for some other reason that, again, I can't remember and I'm not gonna go back and look up. So, of course, Chris and Jackie decide they're going to crash this drop again. And it's a good thing that they do. They end up saving the day. There's some pretty nice fighting set pieces. I love the sound effects that they use in this when they're doing the fighting throughout the whole movie because it's great. It's kind of like a nod to the old classic kung fu movies from Japan and just anywhere like that. It's just so nostalgic, so classic. I like that the touch that they threw in there. Because a lot of the times, especially in the early 90s when films were starting to go kind of away from a direction of wonderment and fantasy to try to kind of blend the lines between fantasy and reality, it was nice to see them use what would be considered kind of cartoony sound effects. But I think it was a great touch. Well, at the Art Gala, they fight the bad guys. This girl ends up defusing the bomb. Bad guys get arrested, and it seems everyone is going to live happily ever after. Well, there you have it. Rush Hour. Overall, I thought it was an actually pretty well done film. Some nice fighting scenes, some nice comedy, some decent laughs, some decent fights, great action. It was pretty well done. The cinematography, again, was great. I was watching like an enhanced version. The quality was better. It wasn't 480p like it probably was originally in 1980. So that definitely helps a little bit. But you can tell it was well done. There was a lot of thought and a lot of effort that was put into this. Some really nice set pieces, some big explosions and stuff like that. So they definitely put the budget to good use. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to Cap'n Kirk's Top 10. Now, with this being the first movie that I've done, by default, get ready for it. Rush Hour is number 1 on the top 10 list. I know you probably never would have thought to hear that in your life, but it is. It is happening. It is true. Rush Hour is number 1 on Cap'n Kirk's top 10. Now, this list is going to evolve and change as we continue to watch movies and talk about them. The list will be updated and added as we watch those movies. So this list is very well going to change a lot throughout time. So get ready. I have some great movies lined up. Can't wait to watch them with you guys. I hope you stick around to see where your favorites fall. Peace.